What's up, y'all? My name is Evan Strong, the founder of InTheImageClothingCompany. Today is the 11th of July, 2026. This is a video under our main side, one of the four sides to In the Image Clothing Company. And hear this correct, I'm getting truly desperate to try to find locations to be able to film videos where it's not too windy outside, or there's not too much surrounding sound, or whatever, or the heat is 100 degrees Fahrenheit here in the state of Utah. All right, I just have to say that because I have tried so hard to get some videos filmed lately, and it's been next to impossible to actually accomplish. Um, so we're inside, like last resort. I don't like to be filming things inside because blunt, bold, raw, and real in the Image Clothing Company. I like to do things outside in the open. I like to just have it be real. But here we are against a blank, flat, white wall. Okay. This video's title, the 7th of July, no, the 11th, sorry, of the 7th month, which is July 2026, under In the Image Clothing Company's main side. I'm just going to get through this regardless of how hard it is. I will say this as well. This will be one of the biggest documentations under In the Image Clothing Company as of today's date, up until now. As far as the visual, the title, okay? A straight elbow equals a straight spine. So what are we, who are we, why are we in the Image Clothing Company, and why has it come to this? I mean, that's the real question, having to film videos inside of a house. When the goal is natural on all four sides of In the Image Clothing Company, holy cow. Clothing is the only thing physically placed on our bodies. We have a physical body placed on this physical earth. It's just a rock in space we call Earth. Our bodies truly only mathematically absolute, undisputed, factual, everything that you could talk about. To get down to the truth of it, only have one way the human being could ever work. There's only one way the body could ever work. There's only one way the human body could ever possibly physically, mechanically operate. We've got opposing sides to every function. There's a neutral to every function. And these opposing sides have musculature that only pulling on one way, opposing the pull of another way from the neutral. And that's how we stabilize, is in the center, or the neutral of either side of a motion in the body. This is everything. It's the feet, dorsiflexing or plantar flexing, which is lifting the toes or pointing the toes. And that's the horizontal surface of our planet Earth. There's no possible opinion to it. There's a lot of people trying to give so much false information on how to get your body to do something, and it will always and has always been physically impossible for the human being to do anything besides the shape and length of our own individual bones, connecting directly to each other through ligaments with just a thin layer of cartilage called cushioning, or cushioning called cartilage between the bones, so they don't wear each other out. But the bones are extremely specifically shaped, and just only the length that they are. Muscles, like I'm discussing, with pulling from either side of an opposing neutral, or opposing sides from a neutral. Muscles pull to close a hinge, like the elbow joint, but opposing muscles pull to extend the same hinge joint. Okay? The body's just what it is. There's no possible opinion. And we don't know what we don't know. And we can't be held accountable for what we don't know. But living in modern 2026 and going forth, today's the 11th of July, 2026. There's so many people giving workout routines. And it's crazy. It's just every time I say this, to me, it sounds like some sales pitch. You can measure it mathematically. But stretching routines, diets, and all of these things trying to get something to happen with the human being. It's gravity. This vertical pull to gravity that comes down and meshes with the horizontal surface of the earth, meshes with the center line of our bodies. We have opposing muscles from this center line. The center line is bone. The spine, the sternum, the trachea, the nose, the jaw. Some of those things aren't really bone. Well, in ways, actually, they are. There's a bone in the center of the neck, at the trachea area. The nose is bone. The jaw is just the bone. The jaw is stabilizing the entire body. Musculature from the jaw comes to the crown of the head, up here to almost the top of the head, down to some of these upper ribs, out to the very edges of our shoulders, and it goes directly through the collars of our tops. So here under In the Image Clothing Company, this is the thing. It's physics, it's truth, it's Earth's vertical gravity pull that determines how the human being works. And we're only a clothing company because you take this human flesh, blood, and bone, this mechanical machine with just measurable mathematical degrees of hinges, levers, and rotations happening, determined by the bones, the structural support of the human being that grows by itself, designed in the image of God, in the image of Jesus Christ. We're a clothing company here, our 5-word company name, because there truly is only one way this thing could physically, mechanically operate. And I'm going to show some of that in this video. All right, on the 11th of July, 2026, a straight spine. Did I say the title? A straight elbow equals a straight spine is this video's title. The pendulum of our hand is hung with Earth's vertical gravity pull from the other end of our shoulder. It's just a vertical line. That's it. Gravity truly pulls us down into good posture. From there, we have the neutral position in our shoulders, from up or down, from front or back. Gravity. There's only one way the human body could ever work. I'm not upset that people don't know it. When I sound so upset, when I sound like I'm like screaming and pointing fingers, it's any false information is false information. And if we don't know how the body works, if we don't know the anatomy of it, the makeup of this physical being, of the human being, then anyone that's just saying something, you might believe it. And you might do things that are just an entire waste of time, waste of money, waste of physical energy and effort to go try to do workouts in positions your body just doesn't work in to begin with. But there is no possible opinion to it. It's mathematics. Everything in the human being has a neutral position, and it's determined by gravity. One of the biggest things. So a straight elbow equals a straight spine. This video's title, like I've said, but the 11th of July, 2026, In the Image Clothing Company's main site here, spoken by me, the founder and leader for life of In the Image Clothing Company, Evan Strong. It's just mathematics. I mean, you've got a neutral position. The neutral wrist is straight out from the outside of the forearm, down and out the pinky finger. Then the wrist goes down or goes up. Gravity hangs the pendulum of the hand down from the other end of the shoulder. And then you can bring the arm forward or back. It's truth. It's mathematics. There's just no way to train posture. It's impossible unless you did have like a surgical procedure to change the shape and or length of your own bones. So yeah, what happens? We get into chronic patterning. The body's just got this pattern of working, like the arms swinging forward and back when we walk. The thumbs just are straight forward because from there, that's the neutral to internal rotation or external rotation. There's no possible opinion to how the human being works. I will be as bold as I will be about that for the rest of my entire life as the founder and leader for life of In the Image Clothing Company for the sake of God's eternal perfection and truth. There's only one way this thing functions. And there's a lot of false information. So much of it is insane. So, I mean, it's like truly insane. Like, it's absolutely crazy. People just get you on board with all their things they're trying to preach to you. I have nothing to sell other than clothing if you choose to purchase it. But as far as an idea, as the founder of In the Image Clothing Company, it's about truth. A straight elbow equals a straight spine. But if you can't straighten your elbows, you won't have a straight spine. The thing is, it's gravity. You know, we have to start at the top of the shoulder here and come down. Poof, the whole arm's straight. And now our spine can be as well. The human being has even mathematical opposing bends from bottom to top, front to back, evenly mathematically opposing Earth's vertical gravity pull to stay vertical. The ankles bend backward, the knees bend forward, the hips bend backward, the low back bends forward, the mid back bends backward, and the upper back, which is the spine of the neck, the cervical spine, it bends forward, okay? Back at the ankles, forward at the knees, back at the hips, forward at the low back at the mid back, and forward at the neck is the upper back. to stay vertical on Earth's vertical gravity pull. So when we're talking about having a straight spine, it's this natural curve in the spine, which is a video's title under In the Image Clothing Company's main site here currently, the natural curve in the spine. I told you I'm truly desperate, so hear my tone of voice in this video matched up with that, okay? As far as finding a location to film is what I'm saying. It's been insane trying to film the most simple videos lately under In the Image Clothing Company. So here's the thing. The arms just rest with gravity. When we stand, you should be able to do this. Just be able to swing your arms forward and back and not affect the rest of your entire body. Meaning, you know, your arms just like slightly going forward and back from your center of gravity. Because gravity literally pulls us down into good posture. No possible opinion to it. It's a pendulum. The hand from the shoulder, and gravity will just pull it in a straight line. And so we've got these even mathematical opposing bends. We could say in the spine, for the sake of the video's title, meaning we can say the entire body, but let's just talk about the spine right here at least. The lower back will bend forward, the mid back bends backward, and then the neck or the upper back bends forward, and the arm just hangs vertical so that the spine can vertically oppose this vertical gravity pull forward, back, and forward with the spine's curvature, as the arm is just vertical with Earth's vertical gravity pull, just hanging straight down from where it connects at the base of the skull. Okay, the upper trapezius muscle connecting the top of the shoulder to the base of the rear of the skull and the neck at the spine and the rear of the body. Okay, right along the top of the shoulder blade or the scapula. I don't want to talk about any more than I need to in this video because I want to get to the point. The 11th of July, 2026, in the Image Clothing Company's main side. A straight elbow equals a straight spine. The thing is, if your elbow can hang, that's what I'm saying, as this pendulum that it is, the entire arm is what I mean. If the entire arm from the shoulder down to the hand can hang with Earth's vertical gravity pull, just vertical, and your body can just be vertical, then you have good posture. There's no such thing as posture. We have these even mathematical opposing bends determined by the shape and length of our bones, the feet bones into the lower leg bones. We call it an ankle joint. It's just a hinge and lever system. The lower leg bones into the upper leg bone is just this knee joint. It's a hinge and lever system. The upper leg bones into the hips that then come up to the spine. On the other end, it's just a hinge and lever system. The entire spine is just a lot of little bones called vertebrae stacking, and it's just a hinge and lever system on a smaller scale. There's just quite a lot of bones in the spine compared to just like two long bones in the leg, right? Well, there's two lower leg bones and one upper leg bone, but they're just, you know, like two stacks, if you will. One stacked on top of the other lower two. I'm just saying that it's mathematics. It's as simple as it is. Truly, it's that God designed the body to work. The body works unless or until altered. We've got different length 4 fingers that mesh around a different length opposable thumb that plays an entirely different function than the fingers. We've got different length 5 toes within the universal human design that we roll evenly off the ends of to share the weight when we walk. There's things that we miss as human beings when we're trying to figure out why bodies aren't working in modern day, in this modern man-made world placed onto God's natural earth. But there truly is only one way physics come out to be what they are. There's math equations of measuring hinges, levers, and rotations, and the bones don't change in the human being once you're full grown, and really just once, as you're growing to full grown, it's just getting proportionately larger. There's only one way the human being could ever possibly function. Okay. We get into chronic patterning. Clothing. It needs to, at very least, stay centered because there is that center line to the body mechanically. There's no opinion or belief to it. It's Earth's vertical gravity pull. Its muscles only able to pull and evenly connecting from right or left or right into the center line of the body that meshes with the vertical pull to gravity, which is on our planet Earth. It's outside of all of us as human beings. And no possible opinion of a human being, myself included, Evan Strong, the founder and leader for life of In the Image Clothing Company, could ever possibly change. So it's God's truth. Jesus Christ designed our bodies in his image. It's just that you can't have somebody telling you how to get better posture. It's impossible. Your bones are only the shape that they are. You can only stand vertically one way, and it's by having a straight elbow, if you will, because of this video's title is why I'm saying that in this case. A straight elbow equals a straight spine. The 11th of July, 2026, and the Image Clothing Company's main site here. If the arm was just locked out straight, well, let's do it like this. We straighten the elbow. The hinge joint between the hand and the shoulder. And the hand and the shoulder do the exact same thing. Anywhere the hand goes, the shoulder goes, in any just plane of motion, but also internal rotation versus external rotation, bringing the thumb in toward the body versus taking the thumb out away from the body. It's all just locked out at the bones when we straighten the elbow. The entire arm, from the shoulder out to the hand. If the rest of the body's just working, the entire body's there. There's no perfect world kind of thing. If we never altered the human being, God designed it to work. That's why we have it. We can have our own individual situations, very specifically, uniquely different, small percentage of human beings who've got differences there. We address those things if and where needed, but there truly is a universal human design, the same amount of bones, ligaments, tendons, and muscles in all of the human beings across the planet Earth, unless you are that very small percentile of, something different, which is fine. But just to show the truth of this overlying universal design, that there's no opinion to, like, how to approach exercising to get a straight spine or something. No, it's impossible to approach it like that. It's just, how are the bones shaped? Let's straighten our arms. Gravity just pulls this whole arm down. Like, look, my body just stays vertical even though I'm swinging my arms forward and back because of physics, inertia, and gravity, and, angles of things, okay? It's there's no possible opinion to it, how the human being works. But why it isn't is what we show the truth of here freely under In the Image Clothing Company. We'll sell good clothing, and we'll get into the discussion of that if you don't know who we are as In the Image Clothing Company. But you just have a vertical pull to gravity, and so the spine just keeps its natural curvature. Forward at the lower back, backward at the mid back, and then forward at the upper back, which is just the neck, while the arms can do whatever they do. Look, my spine isn't moving, but my arms are moving all over the place. But my arms are still just swinging on Earth's vertical gravity pull. The entire arm is straightened at all the joints, the elbow and the wrist, let's say, and the fingers. It's a lever off the hinge of the shoulder. It's mechanics. It's gravity. This will never do anything else besides just hang vertical with gravity if the body's not altered. So now you've got your arms just hanging straight down and your spine just having its natural curve. But we've got to start at the feet before we could ever get to the spine, to have a natural curve on the spine. And before we could ever talk about how a straight elbow equals a straight spine, you have to be able to straighten your elbow. And before we can talk about anything above anything else in the body, we have to go to the lowest point, the feet. God designed the human being to work, but God first designed the planet Earth to place the human being onto. There's a horizontal surface to the planet Earth. Unless you're going up a hill or down a hill, which is the only way we can say that, by the way, is if there's a neutral between. Just like you can only lift the wrist up or put the wrist down if you start at a neutral position, just the only way the bones physically directly connect to each other through ligaments because of their shape they grow to on their own. There's a horizontal surface to the planet Earth, and that's the feet at their neutral. From dorsiflexion, lifting up at the hinge of the ankle with the lever of the foot, or plantar flexion pointing down, at the hinge of the ankle and the lever of the foot. This is the horizontal surface of the planet Earth, or the term zero drop in any brand of shoe, just flat on the bottom, just like the horizontal surface of the planet Earth that God designed and just created for us as human beings, that he then created to place onto the planet Earth. Man-made shoe designs put elevation to the heel of the foot, and you're in a constant state of plantar flexion, or pointing of the toes from the neutral. But there's always still only one way that bones are shaped and connect and are lengthed in the human being, from birth to death, from full grown to the time you die. There's a universal human design. I mean, how specific do we want to get? You know, pick apart the wording if you'd like to, but let's find the truth. Here's what I'm saying. The feet flat on the ground. Now you've got a neutral to the ankles from dorsiflexion or plantar flexion. Traveling up, we can have a natural bend in the knee. At the hips, we have our pants sitting in the proper location. At the natural waist, at bone, above the hip bone, but below the lowest rib bone, okay, at this natural waist. And at least level with the Earth's horizontal surface. If not, you know, if anything else, just slightly higher in the front than the rear, so we don't bend at the hips by coming lower in the front or anteriorly rotating the pelvis from its neutral, which is posterior or anterior rotation. Higher in the front and lower in the rear is posterior, and lower in the front and higher in the rear is anterior for the pelvis from its neutral, which is the same as the feet on the horizontal surface of the planet Earth. Okay, clothing. We're a clothing company. Why? Why are we a clothing company? Why is In The Image Clothing Company a clothing company at all, when the only reason we're here on our main side is to allow the body to work? Allowing the body to work comes through not altering it. Clothing is the only thing physically placed on the physical human being. We've got all this going on, okay? We have oversized clothing, potentially not having joints of material of clothing meshing with joints of body parts and damaging our bodies. There's always a neutral to the height of the shoulders. Okay, that's all. I'm going to leave it right there for now. Oversized clothing will damage your body big time. Rotated seams in clothing, which is a big thing I'm going to show with this t-shirt in this video on the 11th of July, 2026, under In The Image Clothing Company's main side, titled "A Straight Elbow Equals a Straight Spine." Okay. Rotated seams in clothing, collar seams, when the collars aren't evenly around the circumference of our neck with even opposing musculature from the center line of it, we will damage our bodies. Zippers, pockets, buttons, things heat shrunk onto clothing, different, discrepant, left or right, front or back, anywhere in clothing. Again, the literal word of clothing is why we are here as In The Image Clothing Company. Anything placed onto the human being at all. Shoelaces, drawstrings, ropes is all they are. We've got words for them. Terminology, it's just a rope. You can twist the entire body with one side over the other, tying a knot in a rope, and then damage. So let's talk about this, because this is the thing. There's no choice to try to have some approach to the human being. It grows by itself. There truly always has and always only ever will be one way the human body could ever possibly work. It's not my choice. It's the truth, always. But why don't people's bodies work in modern 2026 and going forth and whenever throughout time? Chronic patterning. It's not some breakthrough, it's just the truth. You have a pattern of walking, swinging the arms forward and back. That's what I'm saying. It sounds like I've got some sales pitch, like I figured something out. No, it's just that this is mathematical truth. It's always been the exact same and always will be. If the arms can't swing forward and back when we walk, but one's more rotated external and the other arm's more rotated internal, now we've just got this chronic misaligned patterning in the body from its neutral. And this can happen through all these things, you know, rotating seams in clothing. I'm going to show it in this video. Will rotate the entire body. And now you're in a chronic pattern of a misalignment rather than a neutral pattern on top of Earth's vertical gravity pull. A straight elbow equals a straight spine. It's mechanics. We don't even have to talk about the human being. I don't have some kind of sales pitch on like some thing about the human being. I'm delivering truth of mechanics. We can make a robot out of metal or plastic, if you'd like, or wood. And it's the same thing. It's just mathematical, measurable degrees of hinges, levers, and rotations. That's all the human being could ever possibly do. Ever. 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 But watch this. The point is, chronic patterning, scar tissue will build up, trying to just have the body work when it's not in an alignment to be able to work with universal laws outside of all of us, physics in any form, but just this vertical pull to gravity, just mechanical motion happening or not able to because of anything like this, with rotated seams in a top, for example, with robots stitching our clothing in modern 2026 that just didn't happen in the past. We didn't have the technology for robots to exist, and they started to stitch clothing, and they started to rotate the seams. Seams of clothing will now come down at this time period around 2026 and rotate and be pinned flat in one direction, and you will only have motion in one direction, and it will not go the other way. And this twists the entire body, and I'm going to show it visually. I said at the beginning of this video, and I mean this, with well over 600 videos under our main site of In The Image Clothing Company, one of our fourths alone as of today's date, the 11th of July, 2026, this will be one of the most impactful and biggest, for the sake of the information and the visuals, videos that we have to date as In The Image Clothing Company. So that's why I'm so bold in this one. And also I've battled Satan through all hell, dude, to try to film this one simple video. So I'm inside through desperation to get this documented. It's just another date marked documentation under any of the four sides that it is of In The Image Clothing Company. In this case, on the 11th of July, 2026, it's under our main side. A straight elbow equals a straight spine. So let me put this t-shirt on. Watch this. Scar tissue, bone spurs, chronic patterning, problems throughout. The entire human being get built up day after day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, almost an entire lifetime if trying to work around the only thing physically placed on us with our physical bodies only having one neutral position to every single function in the entire thing. That's how it moves. That's how physics work. It's mathematics, and it's just what it is. So watch this. I showed you up close there next to the camera, the seams rotating in this top. I've got it inside out for how it's designed to be worn, so you can see the seams well. Also, because there's branding on the other side of the shirt that's not In The Image Clothing Company, okay? But as I put this top on, this green top that I've now put on over top of my white t-shirt that I have underneath, the white t-shirt I have underneath has no side seams. So the torso of my body can just move, and the clothing can just move around my body. Physics, remember physics. Take all of your sports coach learning out of this, take all of your physical therapist knowledge out of this, take all of your workout routine knowledge out of this, whatever you'd like to say like that, fitness or exercises with the human being, Let's look at this as the mechanical machine that it is. As I stand here, remember this video's title. On the 11th of June, plus one more month, it's July, 2026, under In the Image Clothing Company's main site here, a straight elbow equals a straight spine. Now look at this used t-shirt from a different brand with rotating seams in it. Where's your straight elbow going to come from? When Earth's vertical gravity pull that meshes with the center line of our bodies, the sternum, the spine, the trachea, the nose, the jaw, and everything else that's in the center line, but even mathematical opposing sides, left and right, from the center line of the body, connecting into the center line of the human being. How is this going to possibly work on Earth's vertical gravity pull with something physically, literally clothing our bodies, placed physically onto our physical bodies, has this rotation to the seams? The seams will rotate, so will the body. Now try to straighten your elbows. A straight elbow on Earth's vertical gravity pull, pulling the pendulum of the hand straight down from the other end of the arm at the shoulder. If we straighten the elbow, it's one straight lever off the hinge of the shoulder, the entire arm here, meshing with Earth's vertical gravity pull. But how will this happen with rotating seams in our clothing? You're standing like this. You're walking like this. You've got internal rotation on one side and external rotation on the other. Your clothing is rotating your entire body. Earth's vertical gravity pull has the exact same effect on everything on the Earth as everything else. Let's say it like this. Gravity has the same effect on our clothing that it has on our bodies. And in modern 2026, we have rotating seams in our clothing, because robots stitch our clothing. So now, straighten your elbows to get a straight spine. The body's just a hinge and lever system. Your upper arm bone will travel down following the seam to your elbow, but gravity's pull always is straight down, even when these seams rotate. So the body follows the seams, you straighten your elbows, and this hinge joint of the elbow goes backward, but gravity pulls it here, vertical. But you've got something rotating your body. So this is where In the Image Clothing Company comes in. Or this is where God comes and rids the world of its evil, because this is insane. But until then, in the Image Clothing Company, we give a lot of free modifications in clothing to not alter the body. In modern 2026, today is the 11th of July. And going forth, if and where throughout history this is the case, anytime we ever find any kind of imbalances in anything we could call the literal word of clothing placed onto our physical bodies, the way that God clothes the fields with grass, we need to modify these problems. I couldn't make up the visual here, and even if I could try to, you can do this with your own clothing, with clothing you've purchased from someone else, in your own house, or in your own life anywhere, on your own physical body, on the same planet Earth, with the same vertical gravity pull. Anytime you have rotating seams, that's one of the big things that will not allow what we're discussing in this video with its title being a straight elbow equals a straight spine. Because of Earth's vertical gravity pull is the big reason. Okay, the 11th of July, 2026, today's date, in the Image Clothing Company's main site. Well, in the Image Clothing Company's rotated seam modification, one of our free modifications we give in clothing, you're going to damage your entire body. And it's not you. It's not your fault. It's not my fault. I didn't know, personally, as the founder and leader for life of In the Image Clothing Company, me, Evan Strong, until I was about 24 years old, that there were rotated seams in clothing in modern 2026 and around this time period. I had no idea. Which sounds crazy, but it's the truth. We follow the seam down. I'm holding this t-shirt upside down. So I'm holding the shirt tail. Okay? We follow the seams down to where they come and meet the shirt tail. And they come down, they rotate one direction, and get pinned. Right when we get to where they're pinned and stitched against the shirt tail, we just cut it. I understand you not wanting to cut your clothing, but it's about Earth's vertical gravity pull. It's about the human being just being measurable mathematical degrees of hinges, levers, and rotations. Just a mechanical machine that only has one way it could ever possibly physically, mechanically function. It's about every single generation of human beings at any time period to ever exist, us documenting permanent pieces of truth under In the Image Clothing Company. This is In the Image Clothing Company's rotated seam modification. That's it. You just cut the stitch right where it meets the shirt tail, coming down from the side seam. You cut that side seam right before it gets to the shirt tail, just so that it can go in both directions. Because when we stand and Earth's vertical gravity pull hangs the pendulum of the hand down from the other end of the shoulder, it can swing in both directions, forward or back. And a rotation in a seam like this, physically placed on our physical bodies, won't allow that to happen. Okay, this side hasn't been modified. Here's your rotated seam example. Here's your visual. Here's In the Image Clothing Company's video, one of the many, over 600 on our main side alone as of today's date, the 11th of July 2026, showing In the Image Clothing Company's rotated seam modification. In this video's title, which is titled, "A Straight Elbow Equals a Straight Spine." So we follow the side seam down till it gets to the shirt tail. Right before it gets to the shirt tail, we just cut it just horizontally like that, right? Just right on the same angle as the rest of the shirt tail. Just enough to where it can rotate one way or the other. Okay? Both ways is the point. So we don't have it just rotating only one direction, twisting our bodies only one direction. When our bodies twist, both internal with the rotations or external with the rotations. When the body's arms swing both forward from Earth's vertical gravity pull and backward from Earth's vertical gravity pull. In the Image Clothing Company's rotated seam modification. Here's the other part of this. The pendulum of the hand hanging from the other end of the shoulder with a straight elbow that will equal a straight spine with Earth's vertical gravity pull, well, starts from the shoulder area. There's no hand without a shoulder. There's no shoulder without a spine. There's no spine without the hips. There's no hips without the legs. And there's no legs without the feet. If we're just starting from bottom up on Earth's vertical gravity pull, the mechanical machine of the physical bone structure of the human being that grows by itself and only has one way it could ever possibly physically, mechanically operate on this vertical pull to gravity on our planet Earth. Designed by God. In the armpits of tops, you can also have rotating seams. In the Image Clothing Company's rotated seam modification, this is the armpit seam of the top, coming down right to the sleeve cuff. Once we get right to the sleeve cuff, Just like when we got down to the shirt tail with the side seam of the pant or the top, we cut this rotating seam. Well, let me show you it rotating first. It's only going one direction and not the other. Just one direction and not the other. This is coming down our armpit area, the inside of the upper arm, and twisting the entire arm. Okay. You see where my passion comes from? You see how many people have physical health problems in modern 2026 compared to the past? Do you see how we've got modern technology that we didn't have just decades ago, tens of years ago from today's date, or just today's year, around this time period, 2026? In the Image Clothing Company's rotated seam modification, there you go. Just so it can go one way and the other. Just so the arm can rotate internal and external. Just so the arm can swing forward and back from the neutral and Earth's vertical gravity pole. Let's do the other side. There's two sleeves to a t-shirt. Okay. It's two arms in the universal human design. Maybe you don't have two arms, but maybe you're different. That's fine. We address that if and where needed, because it's needed. If it's the case, yeah, we're different where we are. Only different from something. The universal human design. The seam comes down the armpit. It's rotating in just one direction. It does not go the other way. You notice it comes up and it doesn't even match up with where it's stitched at the sleeve cuff. In the Image Clothing Company's rotated seam modification. Let me emphasize again. We don't know what we don't know. We can't be held accountable for what we don't know. I personally didn't know most anything I show as the founder and leader for life of In the Image Clothing Company, me, Evan Strong, until I was about 24 years old, like 3 years ago, give or take. I'm not trying to get after people for not knowing something they just couldn't know, with my boldness of speech and how I sound so prideful. Sometimes I'm just flat out prideful. But this is not ever okay. For the physical function of our physical body. I'm choking up, bro. I'm holding scissors in my hands. There you go. In the Image Clothing Company's rotated seam modification. Now it can go both directions. We put the same top back on. After having done In the Image Clothing Company's rotated seam modification to both of the side seams coming down to the shirt tail, to both armpit seams coming down to the sleeve cuff, now I'll put this back on. Remember this video's title, the 11th of July, 2026, under In the Image Clothing Company's main side here. This is just one of the 4 sides to In the Image Clothing Company. This is out of true, utter desperation to have a location to film this, to the point where I came inside and filmed it against a flat white wall. Permanent documentation. The video's title here. Under In the Image Clothing Company's main site on the 11th of July, 2026. A straight elbow equals a straight spine. I stand well. I couldn't take credit for the way my bones grew. Every body who has one, or everyone who has a body, all the human beings across the entire planet Earth, any time period to ever be, is who our information applies to under In the Image Clothing Company here. The bones only connect how they do, but I personally am extremely intentional with my body, doing all the things that I know how to do up until any time when I have learned what I have up until then. I stand well. My body works properly. How do we know what that means? Universal laws outside of all of us, like Earth's vertical gravity pull, pulling the pendulum of the hand straight down. from the other end of the arm at the shoulder. In the Image Clothing Company's rotated seam modification will allow motion to be able to happen in both sides of a seam that was once rotating. No matter which way, if you've got both side seams rotating backward, or if you've got both side seams rotating forward, or if you have like this top has, and side seams that have been pinned with one side backward and the other side forward, it's not going to be perfect. Because like I was showing, you've still got the seam coming down and then just being offset from where it's stitched at the shirt tail because it's a rotated seam. Unless you go through and unpick the entire seam and re-stitch it straight down, even, rather than rotating, it's just going to still be not ideal. But you know what never changes? Is God. Being the same yesterday, today, and forever. We're designed in His image as human beings. But also the vertical pull to gravity on the planet Earth He designed. It just is straight up and down. And also the way that human beings grow and the shape and length of their bones and how that meshes with the vertical pull to gravity. So it's not perfect. And I'll say this, it's material. It's just a bunch of little strands of fibers woven together to create something like a t-shirt. Over time, it will wear in a little bit and hang even more straight. But this is not necessarily some kind of advertisement for In the Image Clothing Company's rotated seam modification. This is just a documentation of truth. The video's title, A Straight Elbow equals a straight spine. And I can straighten my elbows so much easier now after just cutting these rotated seams so they're not pinned permanently rotating in one direction or the other. So it'll come from whatever it'll come from, and anywhere in the body, if you can't have your elbow just be able to be straight, with the arm just hanging straight vertical with Earth's vertical gravity pull, then if you straighten your elbows, but they're not just straight up and down with Earth's gravity, they'll just go backward. Like if the upper arm bone's not just vertical already. So heels on shoes tips your body forward because you've got a literal mathematical wedge under the heel of your foot, tipping your body forward. If you straighten your elbows when you're wearing heels on your shoes, your arms will go backward like this. Because Earth's gravity has a vertical pull to it. Our bodies have these even mathematical opposing bends. They're evenly mathematically opposing Earth's vertical gravity pull. So I don't have an opinion here as the founder of In the Image Clothing Company. I'll be leading this the rest of my entire life. True desperation to be able to get this video documented, so much so that I came inside. I mean, that might sound silly, but if you see what's going on here, it's just, this is not how we do this. Up until now, at least. I try to do everything outside. I just try to make it authentic, and I mean, not that this isn't authentic, but I just want to make it clear the dates the timestamps. I date mark the things we do under the gift of video under In the Image Clothing Company. As I say, a lot of this is our insurance policy in the ways that it is. To show the credibility, to show the longevity, which builds credibility, and to show the truth of it. The visuals, where I could sit there and try to explain something to you that you might or might not understand, and you might just want to try to believe it. But I can show you the truth of this, and you can do it yourself as well. I personally, and us under In the Image Clothing Company, our team members always will as well, know the anatomy of the human body in depth. We don't have an opinion. We don't have some routine that you need to follow to get your body to do something, but we have the truth that will always be physically impossible. You can't have your shoulders work somewhere that your shoulders don't work. You can't have your hips work somewhere that your hips don't work. You can't have your feet work somewhere that your feet don't work. You can't have your arms hang vertical with Earth's vertical gravity pull if they just don't. You don't have to care about In the Image Clothing Company. You don't have to even care to want to try to care in the slightest bit about clothing. It has nothing to do with fashion unless you choose to focus on fashion in your life. Clothing is the literal word of just anything placed on anything else. Human being clothing is anything placed on our physical bodies. A straight elbow equals a straight spine. In whatever way it could come, if you have any way that you can't straighten your elbow and just keep your arm vertical, with Earth's vertical gravity pull, you can do all the workouts you'd like to for the rest of your life every single day. All the stretching routines for the rest of your life every single day. Whatever else you want to do. Physical therapy, go get surgeries, talk to your orthopedic person. If you're wearing shirts, tops, as one of the many things in clothing that has rotating seams, your body will be damaged permanently, chronically, unless or until fixed or addressed. So you don't have to care about clothing. But your body only works one way, and it has a hard enough time just holding itself up off of Earth's vertical gravity pull. You place clothing on your body, the literal word, you clothe your body with anything. If it doesn't work for your body the only way your body works, there you go. Your body's not going to work. It's not our choice. It's not our say. We don't have any breakthroughs we can have. We don't have any kind of new thing we can come up with. God designed the human being. It grew by itself. We can't change how it works without changing how it works. The human being is a kinetic chain. It's all connected. Everything in the body is connected to everything else in the body. It just is what it is. A straight elbow equals a straight spine. The 11th of July, 2026, under In the Image Clothing Company's main site here, spoken by me, Evan Strong, the founder, and I will be doing this for the rest of my entire life, leading In the Image Clothing Company. Check out the other 3 sides of us if you'd like to. In the Image Clothing Company Poodles, In the Image Clothing Company podcast with discussions on the gospel of Jesus Christ. We're on episode 209 as of today's date, the 11th of July, 2026. And In the Image Clothing Company music. We do what we do. Find it where you find it. Look up our 5-word company name. No spaces between the 5 words. In the Image Clothing Company. Thank you.